This is DWBR of the Philippine Broadcasting Service. 104.3 on FM. Music and talk. Nice and easy. The time is 12 o'clock. Good afternoon. Here is the 12 o'clock edition of the Network News. A potential cyclone, a low-pressure area, moved closer to Luzon, bringing rains and cloudy skies over metropolitan Manila, the Bicol region, and eastern Visayas. Pag-asa forecaster Hener Kitlong said the low-pressure area was embedded in the intertropical convergence zone and still has a good chance of intensifying into a cyclone. He said the low-pressure area is already near the country's area of responsibility. Kitlong also said there was a possibility that the low-pressure area may interact with a tropical depression or depression heading for Japan. In the meantime, the low-pressure area inside the Philippine area of responsibility has made the intertropical convergence zone active. Pag-asa said the low-pressure area was estimated at 750 kilometers east of Luzon, embedded along the intertropical convergence zone across Luzon and the Visayas. Military troops will remain in defensive mode as tension in Zamboanga City continues. Alvin Baltazar reports.
This was the statement made by AFP-PIO Chief Lieutenant Colonel Ramon Sagala as the standoff is now in its fourth day after Miswari breakaway group attacked some barangays of the city. According to Sagala, they will stick with the calibrated response approach on the rebel members who as of this moment are still holding about 160 hostages. But Sagala stressed that the armed forces of the Philippines has no any plans of giving up and become lenient through the declaration of a ceasefire. The official likewise insists that they are prioritizing at present the civilians who are being used as human shields, making their troops to limit their movement as of this moment. Alvin Baltazar reporting for PBS News.
Catholic bishops in Mindanao are seeking a dialogue between the government and the Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF, to finally end the standoff in Zamboanga City. Basilan Bishop Martin Humawad appealed to the MNLF founding chairman, Nur Miswari, to be open to dialogue so the crisis can be resolved peacefully. Humawad said the government should pursue the talks with a group of Miswari. He called on Miswari to be open to dialogue and resolve the crisis through peaceful negotiations. Humawad said Miswari must order his men to go back home and to stop sowing fear in Zamboanga City because Basilan is also affected. Humawad voiced regret over the loss of human lives, at least 6 as of Wednesday, and the dangers the crisis poses to nearby provinces like Basilan. The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, sees no reason to perform a loyalty check to former members of the Moro National Liberation Front who are now part of the Armed Forces. Again, Alvin Baltazar reports.
According to AFP spokesman Brigadier General Domingo Tutaan, they are confident as far as loyalty of the integris is concerned, whom since 1997 or 1998 have already joined the Philippine military. Tutaan pointed out that they cannot discount the loyalty of the integris who have displayed gallantry during various battles that they had in the past encounters with the enemies of the state. On the other hand, Tutaan said that they are strictly keeping an eye to the possibility that the tension might create a spillover in other areas of Mindanao and even here in Metro Manila. Alvin Baltazar for PBS News.
Suspected members of the Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF, engaged government troops in a firefight in Lamitan City, Basilan. The Philippine National Police, or PNP, said there was little information because of problems with communication lines from Lamitan. The firefight occurred in the Valentine Detachment at the Barangay Magkawa, Tipo-Tipo town, when around 50 armed men believed to be members of a bandit Abu Sayyaf group and MNLF fighters harassed government forces. Captain Jefferson Somera, spokesman for the 1st Infantry Division, also said the clash erupted involved soldiers stationed in Sitio Camalig, Bohepajo, Uncaya, Pucan Town. It was not immediately clear if the suspected MNLF members in Basilan are allied with those now engaging government forces in a standoff in Zamboanga City since Monday. Senator Sonny Angara has filed the whistleblower bill that aims to provide protection and additional benefits for whistleblowers. Jojo Ismail reports.
Angara said Senate Bill number 1614, or the Whistleblower Protection, Security and Benefit Act of 2013, provides that whistleblowers who are also guilty of the reported crime are immune from being charged for their actions, and any disclosure made cannot be used as evidence against the whistleblower. Whistleblowers will be given government security for their own personal protection, and their identity and disclosure should be kept absolutely confidential from the public until the court rules on the disclosure of the crime. Moreover, whistleblowers are also entitled to more or less $500,000 pesos if they disclose cases that are capable of pecuniary estimation, such as plunder, forfeiture of ill-gotten wealth, bribery, malversation, and damage or injury to government. However, whistleblowers who deliberately give false or misleading testimonies can face imprisonment for 6 up to 12 years and a fine of not more than 100,000 pesos, and they must return all the amounts received as financial reward. If a lying whistleblower is a public official, he or she can be dismissed and permanently banned from holding public office. For PBS News, George Ismael, Senate.
Following a prayer vigil and march against the pork barrel system in metropolitan Manila yesterday, more anti-pork activities are slated in Manila and Iloilo tomorrow, Friday the 13th. In Manila, various groups are expected to troop to Luneta for a rally calling for the abolition of the pork barrel system tomorrow. Among the expected participants are militants as well as law students and students from Catholic schools. The Catholic Educational Association of the Philippines is throwing its support behind the September 13 rally against the pork barrel system at the Luneta. Friday's anti-pork gathering is the third major activity calling for the abolition of the pork barrel system since a gathering at Luneta last August 26. The Philippine National Police, or PNP, is starting to prepare the security measures for next month's barangay elections. More from Alvin Baltazar.
In a command memorandum circular issued by PNP Chief General Alan Purisima dubbed as Safe Alpha, it is written in the circular the policy guidelines that they would implement during the local elections. Stipulated in the operational guidelines are measures to prevent armed groups as well as local communist groups from staging sabotage during the barangay polls. In line with this, PNP Deputy Chief for Operations, Deputy Director Felipe Rojas, had met with the National Task Force SAFE 2013 Alpha Regional Special Operations Task Group Commanders and the Directors of the National Operational Support Units of the PNP to iron out other security measures for the October 28 barangay election. Alvin Baltazar for PBS News.
The National Capital Region Police Office, or NCRPO, has opened mobile phone hotlines to handle leads on the killing of an advertising manager who disappeared in southern metropolitan Manila and was found dead in Cavite last weekend. The NCRPO said informants can call Special Investigation Task Group K at 0919-537-5799 and 0916-438-1170. On Wednesday, NCRPO Chief Marcelo Garbo said President Benigno Aquino III ordered his unit to solve the killing of advertising manager Cristel Davantes. Davantes was an account manager of the McCann World Group Philippines' MRM Manila. She disappeared early Saturday morning and was discovered dead Sunday in Cavite. Lawyer Frank Chavez, who had served as Solicitor General from 1987 to 1992, died of a stroke last night. Chavez had been battling cancer since 29. He had been in hospital at the medical city since July 1, where he had undergone a bone marrow transplant. Chavez died of a stroke at 10 p.m. last night. Chavez had received a bone marrow transplant at the medical city, but suffered infection. Chavez was named one of the 10 outstanding young men in 1986 for his achievements in law and human rights. Hong Kong has discouraged its residents anew against traveling to the Philippines, citing the ongoing crisis in Zamboanga. Hong Kong maintained its black travel alert, where it urged residents to avoid all travel to the Philippines. Hong Kong is the 5th territory to caution its residents against travel to parts of the Philippines after the United States, Australia, the United Kingdom, and Canada. The Philippines had been in Hong Kong's black travel list since 2010, when a botched rescue of tourists taken hostage by a dismissed policeman killed 8 Hong Kong residents. The Binga Dam in Benguet this morning kept one spill gate open amid possible rains from a low-pressure area that was nearing Luzon. Pagasa said the dam kept one gate open at 0.8 meter, slightly wider than the 0.6 meter opening last Wednesday morning. It said the dam's water level was at 574.10 meters as of 6 a.m., slightly lower than the 574.76 meters recorded yesterday. Binga Dam's high water level is 575 meters. Meanwhile, 4 major dams in Luzon noted a rise in water levels this morning. Pagasa said Bicol and Eastern Visayas may expect cloudy skies with moderate to occasionally heavy rains and thunderstorms, which may trigger possible flash floods and landslides. Metropolitan Manila and the rest of the country will have cloudy skies with light to moderate rain showers and thunderstorms. Light to moderate winds from the southwest to west over Palawan, the Visayas and Mindanao, and coming from the northeast and northwest will prevail over the rest of Luzon. The coastal waters throughout the archipelago will be slight to moderate. In news abroad, the White House has warned that a diplomatic solution over Syria would take some time. Washington pledged to pursue talks despite skepticisms from United States lawmakers that Damascus would make good on a Russian plan to surrender its chemical weapons. A day after President Barack Obama urged Americans to support his call for military strikes if diplomacy failed, officials warned of a long process ahead. The diplomatic initiative, kicked off by Syria's close ally Russia as a way to avert United States military strikes, was scheduled to move forward when United States Secretary of State John Kerry meets in Geneva with Russian Foreign Affairs Minister Sergei Lavrov. The State Department said those talks would last 2 days or more. At the heart of the talks will be Russia's opposition to a continued threat of military action that Washington says is needed to ensure Syria complies. Satellite imagery suggests that North Korea has restarted a research reactor capable of producing plutonium for weapons at its Yongbyon nuclear complex. The United States South Korea Institute at Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies said a satellite image shows white steam rising from a building near the hall that houses the plutonium production reactor's steam turbines and electric generators. The Washington-based institute said the white coloration and volume are consistent with steam being vented because the electrical generating system is about to come online. It said this indicates that the reactor is in or nearing operation. The reactor can produce 6 kilograms of plutonium a year. There was no immediate comment Wednesday from the International Atomic Energy Agency, the United Nations nuclear watchdog. And with that, we conclude the 12 o'clock edition of the Network News. This is Vibar reporting.
This is Business Radio.